Hello, and welcome to Quackalope, where today we are going to talk about Savage, a game of strategic team survival. And we are joined here today by Mr. Jay Bana from Grindley Games.
Hey guys.
That's all you're going to give him is just a hey guys?
That is it.
That's it? just a hey guys.
Hello Internet, my name is Jay, and again it is great to be here over at Quackalope, and I am excited to talk about this game, especially with some of the highlights and what it's all about.
Yes. So, let's talk about how we met, because this is not a sponsored video.
Yeah.
This is because we love you. We are good friends. Jay and I have actually spent the night together on several occasions in the same house. Come on, guys. Don't go all that kind of crazy with it. We had an Airbnb. We just spent some time at Origins together, but I met you in
Gen Con.
At Gen Con last year, right?
That's right, at the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Absolutely. You were all alone at a table by yourself, and you looked so like a lost puppy.
I was very much a lost puppy.
Yeah, and then you had this cool game sitting in front of you, and you were like, hey, come play my game, please.
Yeah, but you know, it was kind of hard because there were different sections that had green tablecloths, and we were pushed into the corner. Not very much good signage on how to go to those new indie publisher games, but we ended up running into each other, so that was great.
Absolutely, and I love, obviously, indie games. I love indie publishers, and I always want to play all the games, and your game sounded interesting, so I sat down, we played, and what was it, like an 8-player game? 8 or 9-player? It was a crazy, big, huge, awesome game.
It was super fun.
Yeah, we had a really, really, really good time. And after it was over, I said, hey, I work for Quackalope, and I really enjoyed your game. I would like to put it on our top 10 list for last year, so you can go back and check that video out too.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. And then, just for the record, I backed his game personally myself. I have my own copy. Now, this technically is your copy.
That's correct.
But we're going to give it back to you.
Yes.
But I have my own copy.
Yes, you do.
It's a very nice copy. It came in a really pretty box. It has a nice mat and everything.
Yeah, he did the Platinum Pledge, which it was like $100 really nice box and really nice setup. A lot of extra stuff.
Yeah, it's a really, really... It has sleeves and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice. So, Jay, tell us a little bit about the game. What is Savage?
Savage, a game of survival, is a game in which you and other players are trying to survive due to the end of the world happening right in front of you. You see, you join forces with other strangers and know that although the world is running in chaos, there is going to be about 4 weeks until a known civilization is going to come rescue you from your troubled environment. Although you secretly want to ensure that everyone survives, there are, in fact, other traitors that want to sabotage that by ensuring the weak survivors do not join you in the new utopia. They believe that they're doing humanity a favor, in which sabotaging and ensuring one of the weak survivors is to be eliminated is the best way to ensure humanity is at the best peak of human survival.
Can you give us a quick little how to play the game, just kind of like an overview of how a turn would work?
Absolutely. So, as you can see, each player starts with 3 heart tokens. If at any point a player were to lose all 3 of their health, in which all of them are turned face over, that player is eliminated and the game is over, regardless of how many players, even if it's just one player. Now, the elimination of a player does align with each team's objective, whereas the survivors win if they, in 2 ways, survive 4 rounds, or if not able to, being able to eliminate a traitor, and only a traitor. You don't have to obviously eliminate multiple traitors, you just have to eliminate one. The traitors win if they eliminate a survivor, but the catch is they have the ability to still win even if a traitor and survivor are eliminated at the same time. Which makes it...
Like a kamikaze in a way, right?
Yeah, exactly, just like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And so with that in mind, throughout the course of the game, you are managing resources, and fortunately, the resources that you're going to be managing are really aligned with 6 unique cards in the entire main deck. And of course, the 6 cards actually is an ailment called disease, in which you yourself could draw, or other players could draw it, that could affect people's health throughout the course of the game.
Right. So when we start, we've got cards in our hands, and then we're going to go ahead and play down food, right? That's our goal. The main thing is we're going to start around, everybody goes around, and you play down what you believe to be food. Now,
that's correct.
It could be other things. Like you could literally play anything in there except for disease, right?
That's right. And you could actually put any of these 5 cards into the food stockpile. But of course, noting by the name food stockpile, what really matters most to a survivor is food. Because for each food you're able to distribute, that's one person who is not going to lose a life.
Right.
But if a person does not receive a food food, then you would lose a life and unfortunately have to deal with that.
And if I put a liquor in there, that's -1 food, right?
That's right. So for every liquor in the food stockpile, you would remove 1 food. And unfortunately, the cards are face down, so you would not know exactly how much food or liquor is in the food stockpile.
Mm-hmm. And then after everybody has put all their cards down, we know that one person is going to have the most cards down. That person is the leader.
Correct. So yeah, and that's the bidding element within the game. As everyone is contributing cards face down, the player that does put the most cards does become the leader for the remainder of the round. So the leader token would then go to whichever person puts the most card. Now in the event of a tie, such as there are 2 different peoples, for example, that had contributed the most cards, then it's the person who had contributed the most first.
Right.
That's the tiebreaker.
And the good thing about being the leader is that you get to choose what happens on the event that comes up next, like who gets to go on it. And at the end, you're also the one who gets to choose who gets to eat and who doesn't.
That's right. And with the twist that in the food pile, regardless of how much food there truly is, the leader can choose the starve players regardless.
That's such a good mechanic.
That's something that you have to be careful with if you do not trust the current leader, because they may choose to fulfill their own objective by starving players, although it may out them as the traitor.
So also during our draw phase, while we're putting cards down, we could get the things like the what do you call it? The disease, right?
That's right.
And the disease will then sit up here, and then every time you start your turn, you have to roll this danger die, and if you get a heart, you lose another heart, right?
Yeah, a broken heart does make you lose a life at the start of your turn upon a roll if you have a disease. And additionally, if you have a disease and you were selected to go on the event, and then you would also have to roll the danger die. It's the risk you took for being sick and going on the event.
Exactly. You can cure a disease with medicine, obviously.
Absolutely.
You can cure somebody else's disease with medicine as long as it's your turn.
Correct.
You could also use medicine to flip one of your hearts back over.
That's correct. So medicine is a great way to help sustain yourself throughout the course of the game, regardless of what negative outcome that the group has to overcome.
Right. And then we're going to go on an event.
That's right, and you're going to need some cards to overcome those events.
Exactly.
And you'll notice that cards like this, for example, you'll see the color background, the orange color. Well, that card requires a liquor from each player who is contributing a card face down. The same rule applies in general. All cards must be contributed face down. You'll see, as an example, there are several cards with different colors, in total 3, weapons, traps, and liquor, that match the same color for the cards that you have.
We put all the weapons ones at the bottom.
Clearly we did. We didn't care about those.
We didn't care about those. Those weapons ones don't matter.
And so you'll notice that it's not something that you can obviously know for certain if you're going to overcome the event unless you've managed your resources wisely or been able to overcome the challenge of getting those cards with the fact of drawing throughout the course of each round.
And if they're successful, they do the survive side. If they fail, they do the fail side.
That's correct. Yeah, regardless of how many cards. And the big thing, too, is a lot of people, when they think of survive and fail, they think of it aligning with an objective or that it's a bad thing for failure. See, failure in this game on an event does not mean the end of the game. It just means that you were unsuccessful.
Right.
The team has to overcome the unfortunate outcome of this fail, but they may still be able to pull it through regardless of a failed event.
Yeah, like sometimes it's people lose health. Other times it might be that if you manage to see certain things in the this food stockpile, it's going to cost you health at that point. So it could be all kinds of different things, which is very cool. And then after the event is over and we've resolved that, then we go through the food stockpile and see who is fed.
That's correct. The current leader would then reveal all the cards in the food stockpile. We would just count in a public fashion how much food there is, and then that food would be distributed by the leader at their own choice.
Yes. And if at any point in time the leader says, I choose to fatally starve you, then the group gets to decide if that actually happens.
That's right. So in the case of, let's say we have a survivor, and that survivor has 1 health, but we know for a fact that there is a traitor. And this leader, who I'll put the leader token here, this leader is going to starve this survivor by the fact of he's going to win the game because of it. Now, it does not happen instantly where that leader eliminates the player. In the case of a leader's decision to kill a player, we all, as the players, have a chance to vote on that. And a vote process begins.
Yeah, so we would count down 3, 2, 1, and then everyone will either thumbs up or thumbs down on the decision to kill the person. And if it goes thumbs down, and that is the winner, then the leader would transfer to the next person over, and then there would be another vote if we decided to starve that person.
Bad move, guys. So
Yeah.
you could always be careful about what you are trying to do in public, but it's a safety measure for the survivors so that the traitors can't just steal the win.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I love the way that the mechanics work. It just flows really well. Players have been always able to pick up the game after one full round. The game is that simple to pick up, and it's the turns and the order of all of the steps are very systematic and very, very simple to follow along.
And because this is Quackalope, we are going to read, of course, Flavor Texto.
Absolutely.
Yes. Our society has completely collapsed after a series of historic events stemmed from greed, anger, and fear. Fortunately, newly formed civilizations are rescuing people from many troubling environments. You and others have joined forces to be rescued and escape the chaos. However, some of your team members have evil intentions and are secretly allied with traitors, trying to eliminate the weakest survivor. The traitor's objective is to undermine the group by any means necessary until a survivor is eliminated. The survivor's objective? To survive all the rounds or eliminate a known survivor. Can you survive long enough to be rescued?
Is the question.
Yes. Now, why? A lot of people say that this could, in theory, be one of those social deduction games. Mm-hmm. And I say nay, nay. And why do you think I say nay, nay, Jay? That rhymed, by the way.
I know it did. Why? I know you're very talented.
I'm so talented.
No wonder you do this for a living.
Yes. You can keep piling those on me. That was really nice.
I love it.
No, keep going. No, keep going.
Well, let's talk about the game.
We can talk about my hair, all my great clothes.
Yes, all of that is fancy.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please. Let's talk about you. It's just obviously we're here for you. So.
I totally forgot the question. What's the question?
The question is very important.
Yes.
Yes. The question is all about. This is in theory a social deduction game.
Ah, yes.
But I say nay, nay, Jay. Again, it rhymed.
You did.
It's even rhymed the second
That's
time.
how we got in the first trouble of me forgetting the question.
That's true. I don't call this a social deduction game. And the reason I don't call it a social deduction game is because, in my opinion, when you play a social deduction game, you are looking for that one person, that one bad guy. And in this particular scenario, especially if you're playing with larger player counts, you have multiple bad people. It's a team survival game, right?
So it has an element of where there is deception and two teams that are playing in the efforts of them achieving their own objective. With the twist that as one of the team's objective, the majority group, they have an objective to win where they themselves, all they have to do is survive 4 rounds, even if the opposing team survives with them.
Correct. Because if all the survivors... If all those people...
You're doing great.
Thanks.
Great.
I'm so good. I'm so good at this. It's just not even funny. If all the survivors manage to survive until the end of all 4 rounds, then the survivors win no matter what.
That is correct.
Right. So you don't even have to figure out who's the bad guy. You just have to make sure everybody survives. You can even make all the bad guys survive.
That's right.
Bad guys, the traitors, whatever you want to call them.
There's 2 main elements to this game that's very vital, that's not seen in a lot of games similar to this, and that is resource management and bidding. You are utilizing the cards that you gather every turn, every round, in the efforts of making sure that the group or the people that you want to align with, that are aligned with your objective, are survive throughout the course of the game. Otherwise, other than the traitors, where their main objective is to eliminate a survivor at all means necessary.
Yeah. So we've got things like your resources, that your important parts are food, because at the end of every round you have to feed everyone, and if at any point in time someone isn't fed, then they lose one of their health points here. You just flip that over, and because they starve that round.
That's right.
Then we have things like medicine, which can cure diseases that might pop up,
or even the health that you lost from starvation or by damage dealt due to an event.
Yep. And there are bad people in the world that will put liquor into the food pile, because a liquor in a food pile is a negative food.
That's right.
Yeah.
And for every time that, for every liquor that you're having into the food pile, that could help deduct which players are sabotaging the food stockpile.
Exactly. And then there are events, right? So after each player has had a turn to place food or maybe liquor or other things into the food pile. We're all going to go on events after we've chosen a leader.
That's correct. Well, you don't choose the leader. You actually bid for the leadership.
The leader chose.
And that's what makes the game really interesting, is that it's not based on a mechanic where, based on certain circumstances, who's in which position within the group of players. So the fact that you, with your resource management skills, are able to bid for power, such as being the leader, that becomes quite an important aspect to the game as you survive the 4 rounds.
And then, so once a leader has been selected and all the food's been gathered and put in one place, not to be seen yet, we're going to select an event, and then the event will be something that we have to go out as a group to do, because when you're in an epic survival scenario, you still have to get out there and get supplies, right?
That's correct.
Or you could, in certain circumstances, be saving yourself from a rogue militia that's coming after you. Or wasn't there one about snakes at some point?
There are snakes, and they do look poisonous.
That is very scary. I'm sure Indiana Jones would be very upset with that. But the leader gets to choose the party that goes out on the mission.
That is correct, including they could choose themselves, as long as the players who openly claim to have the card needed to survive the event are telling the truth. And that's where the challenge comes in. You see traitors are doing everything in their power to ensure sabotage throughout the entire course of the game.
Absolutely. And then once the event is over and we resolve the event, we either pass the event and do the survive aspect, or we fail the event and then the leader has to deal with the repercussions of doing so.
That is correct. And then after the event is over, the next step to complete the round is to go back into the food stockpile, which was equally collaborated among all the players to shuffle and show in hopes that there's enough food to feed everybody. And at the end of the day, the leader decides. But there's another thing to include as far as the food distribution phase, and that's the leader can starve any number of players, even if there's enough food to feed everybody.
That's true. A good leader is a gluttonous soul.
That's right.
And will eat all the food for themselves.
Yeah.
And let everybody else starve.
And then once the food is distributed, that completes the round. You do that 4 total times until the 4th round is complete.
Right. And if at any point in time the leader starving a person takes them past their last health, in other words, if you starve them to the point where they're going to die, everybody gets an opportunity at the table to vote on whether or not that's an okay thing.
That's right.
Because it's not a dictatorship, right?
That's correct. So it's something that we use as a safety measure so that survivors have a say, so that the traitors aren't able to steal the win for the game. A vote takes place with everybody, and a majority decides the fate of whatever decision is made if the leader were to elect a person to lose their last health.
Exactly. And if for any reason that was a tie, then leader would pass to the next person in line. If it was a tie again, leader would pass to the next person, but we have a dictatorship at that point, and that person can do whatever they want.
That is correct. In this game, it's all about, we need to, at some point, make a decision. And so that third new leader, well, let's just say they dropped the hammer, and that's all that matters.
Exactly. Well, I have to say, I absolutely love this game. I have played it quite a few times, and I'm super excited about things that are going to be coming in the future that we're not allowed to talk about right now, but can we talk about the one new thing?
Yes.
The errata that might be coming out.
I think that element that I know you love and I love very much needs some further testing. It's been recent.
It does.
But I can't spoil you on an expansion that we are currently working on in hopes to launch it within the year.
So next year, right?
That's correct.
Right.
And so we notice a lot of things going on at the table here. We have events, we have identity cards, your heart tokens, and so forth. There's actually a new element that we're adding to the game. It's a mechanic. And we call that mechanic the Outsiders. See, the Outsiders are call them NPCs that have been discovered through the course of scavenging for resources. And these are people whom the players on their turn are able to discard cards or, I guess, pay a cost to utilize their ability. Each outsider has different abilities that could effectively change throughout the course of new outsiders, and if you utilize those outsiders, it helps with advancing your own objective, whether by good or bad means.
Yeah. There are a lot that we've worked on together as just exciting, fun things like, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this? Wouldn't it be cool if you had somebody that could do this? Because, of course, as you all know, I love to take that element of every single game. So Jay's were really nice, and they were like, oh, this is a cool power that would be used to make something neat happen on the board. Mine are like, you're cursed. You're stuck. You can't do something for a period of time.
Yeah,
Sucks
you
to
can't
be you,
do this,
buddy.
and you get this, and screw you, you get hurt here. Boy, this guy is savage.
Yeah, I am savage.
See what I did there?
I saw it. It was a nice callback.
It was a really good callback.
It was a very good callback.
I was very proud of myself.
You should definitely do more of that.
Okay, I will do more of it.
Yeah.
Keep inviting me over, all right?
Okay, that's the deal. It's totally fair.
And I tell you what, I can't even spoil one of the outsiders. And actually, it's an outsider whom I really enjoy. It's very subtle by its appeal, but has a lot of intricacies when it comes to what he does. And the name of the outsider is called the Social Drinker. Well, so the Social Drinker, his ability is quite simple. He has a cost to bribe the Social Drinker. You must just discard a good old liquor from your hand. And by doing so, you choose yourself and another player to draw 2 cards. But of course, you choose who draws 2 cards first. I'm not going to spoil too much more for the surprise factor, but in the expansion, it may matter what you draw next based on some mechanics that are affecting the main deck.
That's right, because there are diseases and things like that in the deck where you can disease yourself and have to roll this danger die, and if you show a heart, it'll actually lose a heart on your board, which is kind of fun. So yeah, that could be
it's really fun to lose a heart. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. I always roll the danger die because if you roll the danger die when you're grabbing cards, you can get 3 cards. Otherwise, you only get to take 1 off the top, or you have to trade 2 in. And who wants to get rid of cards? It's a card management.
It's a card management game. I mean, we hope that those 2 cards were worth the 3.
Yeah, I'm totally rolling this die every single time, and it rarely bites me in the bottom. I definitely did not die tonight by rolling the danger die. Definitely did not happen.
And you know, one thing about this game that I'm most proud of is it is a fantastic game to play with new players. It is very simple to play mechanic-wise. It's effectively the same actions and turn through each round, which makes it so much easier to pick up. If you have friends and or family members that you're trying to get them involved into the board gaming space, this is one great game to consider when you have a group that's as much as 4 to 10 players.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got 2 parties going together, you can do this really well. Like 45 minutes to 25 to 45 minutes?
Yeah, realistically. I've seen games end in 10 to 20 minutes. Well, it varies based on every game. And every game is always a different situation. Sometimes you have different challenges to overcome, such as a person who has 1 health but also has an ailment like a disease, and the possibility of them dying is quite high, even though it may have happened relatively quick, and then you are forced to make a decision if it's worth saving their life, as savage as that sounds.
It does.
Yeah.
It's very savage. I also want to say we have a thing around here where we got to tell a little story, because in one of the times where I asked a creator to tell a story, I learned about how he was pushed on a swing by an older man when he himself was in his 40s. So I find that to be absolutely hysterical. So, but I know there's a great story about how and why you created this game in the first place. So give us like the short version of how and why you created this game.
Sure. So many years ago, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, before I got married to my wife, who I love very dearly, I decided as a gift for my groomsmen to gift them a gift that was something I made from scratch. It was actually something that I wanted to craft as a show of appreciation for all of their involvement and with them being a part of my life. I created Savage: A Game of Survival as that gift. The original copy of Savage: A Game of Survival was on a whole different box. It was a much smaller size. The card distribution was very different. And in the November timeframe of 2019, I gifted them a copy of the original version of Savage.
That's so cool.
And so, COVID happened. A lot had transpired with the world and the economy. So I took the time to really further hone in on the skills and the play style of the game. And this is where I'm at now.
Man, that is so incredibly cool. I have been in multiple weddings, and no one has ever given me a game that they created just for me. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
I worked so hard on that first copy, and it was definitely something that caught them by surprise. But they got such a sense of appreciation for it afterwards.
I bet they did. That's just it's a really cool story, and you have literally raised the bar so high to everybody who's getting married now, who's watched this video. I'm so sorry. But you've got to beat that. So, it can't be just a little rolling right now. This is a great mechanics game here.
If you have a story where you gifted somebody a game for a celebration, an anniversary, or something like that, I would love to know more about that, just because that's what I did.
That's right. Put in the comments section, put first man, best man.
There you go.
That's how we'll know that you made it to this point and you listened to that part of the story because it's so cool.
Oh.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
All right,
I appreciate that.
Man, Jay, thanks for being here, bud.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. You're a pretty cool dude. This is a great game, and I'm allowed to say that because this was not a paid movie. It wasn't a paid preview. This was something that I wanted to do because Jay's a great guy, and I love this game, and more people need to know about it. We have tried. I know you sent out a copy to No World's Bard, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I don't recall if they've received it yet. I think it's in flight, but I only want my biggest dream to come true for them to check out the game, and there's a few other reviewers that I am looking forward to, hoping that they cover this product as well.
I absolutely love this game. I can't wait for us to have an opportunity to play a 6 or 7 player game on camera. I think it'll be so cool.
Oh my gosh, it would be
cool.
awesome. The excitement level, I'll tell you this, every convention I've gone to, whenever there is a table, regardless of number of players, I've always had everyone just get really excited about what's going on, the being torn on what decision to make, the scarcity of resources. It always causes a lot of people, a lot of audiences to want to come and check out the game.
Yep.
So again, highly recommend. I put my game to the test. If you are a big fan of games like this, definitely check it out.
Yep. It has a lot of those moments in it, you know?
I mean, we've had moments where even at the end of each round, you know how you reveal all the cards in the food stockpile, where there is this constant back and forth between liquor and food and liquor and food. And what do? You hear people getting excited and then boo and then excited. And so the fact that that can happen in any game experience is quite interesting.
Absolutely. All right, well, hey, whatever the case, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing. Starve your friends. That's really, in this scenario, you just starve the friends. That's really the main thing.
Own it.
Yeah, own it. If you're going to say...
if you're going to starve your friends, then maybe, talk with your other buddies first and maybe see if it's really worth...
Hoard all the food. Hoard all the food, starve your friends.
Maybe, not.
No, that's a bad idea. Don't listen to Jay. He's terrible at games. Yeah. He makes good ones, but he's terrible at playing them.
I'll take that. That's fine. Yeah. I've had plenty of people who've outwitted me in this game, which I thought, damn, I never thought that would happen to me, but it did.
Have a good one. Bye.